Alright, here we go. This is a ranked 1v1 match on Duel between the blue player in the upper left-hand corner, Nirs. I think that's how you say it. Nirs? Something like that. In the Star Neo, and his opponent, the green player in the bottom right-hand corner, NLpaal, in the green sea bomber. Looks like NLpaal was waiting for a long time in matchmaking queue. Okay, now does finally come back from AFK with a little bit less than half of pregame. Completely gone, so has not too much time to do the typical preparations, but looks like he's going pretty standard with Moneymaker builds. We do have Nirs with a shooter, a mass shooter opening. So we might be able to clear mid pretty quickly. However, I mean, the benefit of the shooters is their incredible range, and they don't get killed by other units. However, they have very, very low DPS and low health. And NLpaal missing that socket real quick, and Nirs, his shooters are approaching this middle outpost. Will start to clear units, but we do have Nirs immediately going for that socket harass, going and actually killing a Moneymaker. And NLpaal, just with the Longhorn in queue, does decide to drop it in defense, but Nirs leaving the area before he's even really touched too much. Now coming back with a couple buckies, and NLpaal going with a Longhorn, I guess at the front door, and or no, he actually set it here. Okay, he set it on attack, so it will eventually get to the front door, and probably, but will attack the front door instead of the corner. So that's the one thing about dropping them on attack now. It will start to attack not the double damage area of the fort, because the corners have been it has been updated to the corners are the part of the fort that takes the double damage. Nirs able to actually neutralize that outpost with his buckies, but now has it lost goes back up to green, and now is trying to deal with his Longhorn finally, and does drop it in blocking position. Very, very quick reactions. Does not hesitate for a second. Just drops the Longhorn for blocking. Will be able to eventually get it killed. And now NLpaal finally sees those shooters and is like, oh no, I've been a bomber this entire time. I could have stopped that incredibly quickly, but did not. Now decides to rebuild his Moneymakers, getting them resocketed, but Nirs kills another one. However, Nirs doesn't have too many units out on the field. The ones that he has made have been pretty much thrown away, and NLpaal killing every single one of the shooters in one bomb, or at least when one bombing run, and they all go down. So now Nirs just with a couple Bucky drops, and Bucky's against the bomber. I mean, even though they're not that close together and clumped, it's still not a good idea, just because bombers are so strong. And NLpaal does have 1 point into bombs. Now has a bunch of jokers in queue, I guess, for mostly for distraction, or not necessarily distraction, but to tank damage and to draw the fire away from his outpost. But his outpost has been neutralized, now kind of just waiting for creeps to come, and able to just kill every single Bucky that Nirs has brought over. And Nirs just dropping 2 Buckies at a time every single time. Really needs to go with the numbers more than just the speed of the drop. Does have 4 Sams in queue, now has a hat coming out as well, so really wants those infantry, but does set off the mines. I don't even know why the infantry were walking up there. Oh, because they were going for this outpost. So when that outpost does get neutralized, the infantry walk up this path here. Because this is the closest way to get to this one. It's sort of negligible. I mean, it's a little bit faster, but the infantry do decide to take a shorter path, and that is what they are programmed to do. The shortest route is apparently the best route, and GPS OP. And now Nirs setting up a Bucky line. NLpaal could probably just bomb that down extremely quickly. Still only has level 1 bombs, but actually a Tech Pod 1 coming out on the field, and actually does have it. Deciding to go all the way back to the fort to socket it. No, decides to put it all the way back in the back corner. It is a pretty good place to put it, honestly. It is a good place to put it on Duel. It's not really checked very often by the enemy, and not too many people actually try to hide stuff there. It's, pretty much the only people that try to hide stuff there are Neos with jammers or Sonyas, and NLpaal able to finish off that Longhorn before Nirs is able to save it. And he'll probably be able to kill these Buckies before his Longhorn dies, yes. And Nirs not attacking the Longhorn from behind, really need to get it from behind. He wasn't even body blocking, so there was absolutely no reason to not hit it from the back, because I don't know exactly how it works right now. I think it still takes double damage, but by next patch it will just have extremely low armor, so it will take a lot of extra damage from certain units. And mechs will pretty much deal the same amount of damage regardless of what side. Or at least I think they actually deal less damage to the front and sides of the Longhorn, because the Longhorn armor is higher than the AirMech's weapon value. And I'm not exactly sure what the weapon value of the AirMechs are. I think they actually differ depending on the AirMech. So I know Angel's is like 35 or something. That was a recent balance change. That's why I know that number off the top of my head. But but Nirs losing a lot of the Buckies over here to NLpaal's bombs with just that Longhorn sort of as a distraction for those units, and coming out with bombs and his bomb ability bombs. And Nirs just going with Buckies. He's just massing Buckies and Patchers, the squishiest of each unit. And they are just so squishy. They die almost immediately, especially to the bomber with great AoE. And NLpaal, oh, actually he already had a Tech Pod 2 out on the field. Where did he put it? He put it right here, back there behind his forward outpost. Really wanted to start getting those goalies built, and he already has one done, a second one already finishing now, saving his Longhorn, but has a full queue of Goliath. Might want to, and actually grabbing the lockbox, so we'll be able to queue up even more goalies. Needs to pick up some goalies out of queue so he can actually start queuing up even more. And he does just that. Oh, already setting them out to move. I don't really know why he's already doing that. Doesn't really need to. Could play it a little bit safer, but he's probably okay with this attack, especially because there's just Buckies and a few Flackers defending for Nirs. I don't know why. Oh, but Nirs actually is already sending out as well. Sending out the Longhorn that he had in queue. These goalies were not even set on capture. They were set on attack, so they're completely bypassing that mid. And so we do have a double send on both sides of the map. Nirs trying to deal with these goalies again, firing at them from the front, not hitting them from the back, and NLpaal with a goalie for blocking at his fort. Will be able to finish off these Longhorn very, very quickly, but Nirs still trying to kill these with just his Neo ground fire. Going for the front goalie from the side of the front will not deal that double damage that that you can get if you attack him from the back. And now NLpaal with another goalie dropping it at that fort. Oh, actually had a goalie here at this fort, so he might be able to neutralize that as well. And dropping two goalies on two corners, that is exactly the right play. That is impossible to block with one unit. Needs two units to block. And they are both getting double damage. A lot of damage going down onto Nirs' fort. And NLpaal actually able to clear all these Longhorn that were dropped. And the bomber melee is back, folks. So strong, so powerful. Can kill tanks like a knife through butter. That's not actually killing stuff. Knife through butter is more of a slicing thing. But you guys get the point. They kill things really, really fast now, especially if they have that weak spot, if they are the type of unit with a weak spot. And that one goalie's still alive, and even more coming for this fort by NLpaal. And a couple of distraction jokers at this forward as well. So let's see how NLpaal decides. Oh, these goalies are not going for the fort. They are going for this close. NLpaal getting closer and closer to complete map control. Does need to bring a couple of infantry to be able to get this outpost under his control. However, he does have creeps passing by if they aren't taken care of. Yes, that runner is not able to get into that outpost fast enough, so NLpaal will be able to take control of this outpost, and does have SAMs to back them up, so those SAMs and the bunkers will keep this outpost under NLpaal's control for the foreseeable future. For the most part, I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon. However, Nirs does have a fine amount of Longhorn, not fine Longhorn, but some fine Longhorn there. Description words, adjectives. But yes, NLpaal still holding with these goalies. I don't know if these Longhorn would really even be able to do it, especially against the bomber, especially against the bomber in the area that will be able to see it coming. And NLpaal actually even has control of this outpost as well. That goalie was able to neutralize it, and creeps just needed to walk in. And now NLpaal with goalies everywhere, now going for the very last outpost, going straight for that domination. So we'll be able to get that eventually. He does have already 3 creeps in those sockets, and or in those slots, and one more coming out. What is Nirs doing with this time that NLpaal is using to take this back corner? He was just kind of flying around and putting more units down on the field. There are still quite a lot of defense over here, and NLpaal with just goalie after goalie after goalie and surrounding these outposts. Really just wants to keep it under his control. Really doesn't need to. Could probably just go out for that attack. And actually is able to, oh no, getting probably, yeah, it does get finished off there on the ground by those enemy units, and does throw out the smiley face without the eyes, so a blind happy guy. And now is coming out on the field. It uses this respawn time to queue up abilities. Let's see what he is queuing up. You can't see it based on that spectator interface, something I need to add to my list of stuff that I want. But let's see what he does decide to, he put one in bombs and one in guardians. So now does have a repair guardian circling him. Nirs going with the moneymaker attack, but NLpaal is right there to respond. Not really too much in danger. Doesn't even really care. To be honest, he doesn't need to. He has so much outpost control. He has so so much map control that he doesn't really even need to worry about losing moneymakers, because the income difference is so drastic at this point that the moneymakers aren't really even doing anything. Now starting to send out is Goliath, healing one up, and probably will be able to get this finish with just a couple of Longhorn here for Nirs defending. Nirs still at this fort, just firing in, and not even concentrating on the goalie from the back, just dancing in circles to avoid the fire. That's fine, but all these goalies coming for your fort. What do you have for QE? As for Longhorn, and Q really needs to just start spamming those out so we can stop these goalies as much as he possibly can. Might even just want to sacrifice fort health for damage and put those Longhorn behind the goalies instead of blocking. But this actually is the end of the game. NLpaal killing Nirs right there at the buzzer. Probably was right after the game ended. But NLpaal getting this ranked 1v1 victory on Duel over Nirs. And just pretty much went straight to goalies. I mean, he had a couple of units out on the field. Obviously, it would have been pretty much suicidal to go straight from Tech Pod 1 to Tech Pod 2 and 1v1. It would have been over. However, that shooter opening was just really, really ineffective, especially on this map. I mean, it was able to get him the mid, but against the bomber, not too smart. NLpaal was able to kill him pretty much immediately, even not against the bomber. Most people bring bombs to begin with nowadays because infantry spam is the meta game with the opening. Because that is the most effective opening. The only real effective way to counter it is with bombs. Sadly, that is where we are right now. Hopefully, things will get better, and I guarantee you things will get better in the future. So, guys, if you have any games that you play and that you think would be productive to share with the AirMech community, send them in to me at ruy0x@gmail.com or RUY on Steam as well. And check my video descriptions. This is RUY, and that's game. See you next time.